So I'm curious, and I'm wondering, would finding a scholarship make a difference in your educational goals? But I'm going to continue with some of the questions that you have, and there are a lot, so I hope to get through as many as possible. So any tips on writing scholarship applications, how to sell yourself? Okay, so in our previous webinar on scholarship writing tips, that was offered last month. Brittany Palmer, who is from Unlock Your Future, Key to Scholarships, she noted different ways for you to tell a story to write your scholarship application. If you go to the events page on our website, which I will get to later on in our presentation, you can download a copy of that particular PowerPoint and have a look through it. Brittany has some great examples in there, and that should help you with writing your scholarship application. So we have a question here. Should grade 11 students try applying for scholarships now? Definitely in terms of looking for scholarships, being in grade 11 is a great time to look for scholarships because, as I mentioned before, planning ahead is very important, especially if you want a great essay written or just to gather your reference letters or to make your resume or cover letter. If those are required, you may not be able to apply for a scholarship because often many of the scholarships on our website are for post-secondary education, so that's education at the university or college level. So being in grade 11, if you're not applying for university or college as yet, you may not be eligible to apply, but you certainly are eligible to prepare for those scholarships. So if you have a look through our website, often, again, as I mentioned, many of those questions, essay questions, don't change very much from year to year, and a lot of scholarship administrators ask very similar questions. So if you have a template going in, you actually cut back on a lot of time that you spend on scholarships. And if you didn't receive a scholarship for any reason, then you can contact the scholarship administrator and ask them for feedback because I'm sure they're more than welcome, more than happy, rather, to answer your questions. Do all universities offer the same scholarships, or do you have to look at the specific ones for the university? Definitely all universities offer different scholarships. Many universities offer entrance scholarships, which are very similar between schools. The amount or the value of that scholarship may be different. Definitely there are some universities that offer students a scholarship simply because they are part of a particular faculty. When I went to York University, I took the psychology program. I had about an 80-something average, so I got an entrance scholarship going into that. And that was one of the reasons why I chose to go to York University, because they offered me a scholarship. The school was close to home, and also they have a really great psychology program. So those were all factors that I considered, and that's why I chose my particular university. But if a scholarship does have any influence over which university you do apply to, do have a look. Many of the scholarships, the entrance scholarships, are similar, but some of the values or amounts are different. So, and also some schools do offer departmental scholarships. So if you're studying a particular field of study, there may be a scholarship, an entrance scholarship for you. Definitely, I know my sister who was studying geography, she received a scholarship from the geography department. In addition to a scholarship for studying in the Faculty of Science. So that's really interesting. If you don't get a scholarship, can you apply again for the following year? Of course you can. Yes, for sure. You can definitely apply for a scholarship again in the following year. As I mentioned with an earlier question in my response, if for any reason you have any questions about that scholarship, contact the scholarship administrator. They'd be happy to provide you with feedback on perhaps why your scholarship application wasn't accepted the previous time. And you do have to take into consideration that there are lots of people applying for a scholarship. But again, if you never know, there may not be many. It depends on the competition. It does vary from year to year. Definitely, if you would like to win a scholarship, apply for it. Scholarships with larger amounts do tend to be much more competitive than scholarships with smaller values. So even a scholarship that's $50 or $100, don't discount it from your scholarship search. If you're eligible for it and you have time to apply for that particular scholarship, then why not? Go ahead and go for it. How do you learn about our webinars? Well, we have an events page on our website, so definitely feel free to share that particular link with any of your colleagues or friends or students. We also post information about our webinar series on our School Finder and Scholarships Canada website. We do have a whole new season of webinars happening in the new year. If you would like to be part of our mailing list, simply send us an email. Okay, so I should wrap this question period up. I will be answering more questions at the end of our session, so if you would like to stick around, that would be great. But I'm just going to wrap up a few more points in the presentation and also wrap up this poll. So I'm going to close the poll. And it looks like about 57% of you have said yes, that finding a scholarship will influence your educational goals. But it looks about to be close to almost 50-50, which is really interesting. And definitely for myself, it did have an influence over where I studied the first time around. But when I did my second degree, finding a scholarship wasn't so much an issue. I did rely a lot on student loans, but I also had a part-time job and I did a lot of working. I did apply for scholarships and bursaries, and I did some international exchange programs where bursaries and scholarships were very helpful. So definitely, everything depends from person to person.